okay? I want to see a lot of support in this video, and I'll cover this one as well. But today we're going to be covering a video that he made called Warning, Do Not Rely on Choosing Signals from Women, okay? So, I don't know what to expect from this video because I haven't seen it. My editor just sent it to me without any warning whatsoever. I do need to pause the music before I start the video, otherwise the video won't work. But like, I have no idea what to expect from this video other than I will say I'm not too upset about this first frame. This first frame is definitely good. I rate the video pretty well so far.
Welcome to Knox.
This is almost certainly copyrighted. So are we just like, are we in this era of like the woman, the not attracted to women straight man? Like there was a time when straight men were like, oh yeah, feminists want to free the nipple? By all means, let's go. Where'd these straight men go? I'm one of those straight men. What happened? What happened? Okay, I need to hear this guy's voice. Is he going to be British? Is he going to be nasally? Let's hear him.
Let me guess. As you were watching this clip...
I called it British. I called it.
Your eyes were more or less fixated on a single girl. This one...
Oh no, I was looking at all of them, but yeah, the one with the boobs, I guess, yeah. I guess.
Here in the red top.
Uh-huh.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
I'd bet yes, I am.
Yeah.
And just in case you were wondering, this has little to do with the fact she was featured in the thumbnail. Because even when we bring up the original comment,
she's also wearing red, which is a color that naturally human eyes are drawn to. Were any of the rest of them wearing red? No, none of the rest of them have any red on them. Or white, for that matter. They're all wearing black. This one's wearing pink, but the rest of them are all wearing black. She's the only one who's wearing white and red. So much like Waldo in a crowd that... Much like Waldo on a Where's Waldo page that isn't very well made... you know, she kind of stands out. So there's that. That's why your eye would immediately be drawn. But then also Booba.
were more or less fixated on a single girl. This one here in the red top. Just in case, because even when we bring up the original comments of the video, pretty much all of them are similar, pointing out the same girl in the red top.
What are these comments? The red girl needs to be humbled? Girl in red doing way too much. What? Like I said, they're just mad about hot women existing. Is that what's happening? Is that where we are? Just let women online be pretty and do their thing. Like, what is the issue here? I don't understand. Who cares?
So, what was it that makes her so eye-catching? And, more importantly, is this potentially a sign of danger if you're a guy looking to date girls who are beautiful, innocent, feminine, loyal, etc.? Let's spend the next 10 minutes breaking it down. First and foremost,
okay.
as far as conventional dating advice goes, dating advice from your parents...
Hold on, is this a fucking PowerPoint? There's a yellow circle around the mouse. Is this, like, recorded with, like, fraps, and it's like a PowerPoint presentation? Holy shit. We've never seen something like this before.
Parents, sisters, movies... They will likely tell you things like... Find a girl who likes you for you. When you stop looking, the right girl will come. One day, you will find someone that chooses you and continues to choose you every day.
Yeah, all of these things are unironically true. Listen, I know that, like, the reason why this type of, like, red pill, or even black pill, because that's what this channel is, advice appeals to young men so much, is they feel like everything they've been told while, like, growing up must be wrong, and they need to rebel from it. So everything they've been told by their parents, their, like, older peers, and by, like, literally every bit of, like, media made to kind of, like, teach a moral lesson out there, that they've seen, teaches these basic moral lessons as, like, a way to find love in this world realistically, to find, in like a loving relationship, and they want to feel like this is some cucked like bad advice that like the cucked blue-pilled normies are giving, and the actual real advice is in the real truth, they won't tell you that. That's a secret. You've got to go to YouTubers online and watch their YouTube videos and give them ad revenue dollars, or even pay for their Patreon to really find out the truth. Find a girl who likes you for you. That kind of doesn't like, sure, I guess, but that doesn't really, that kind of contradicts the second point, and the second point is the one that I think is probably the best point. I like the first point, and I'll explain like the part of it that I like in a minute, but the second point I think is the best. When you stop looking, the right girl will come. This, at least in my case, has always been true. This has always been true in my case. Even if it's like relationships that didn't last very long or end very well, like in every case where that relationship started, it was in a time in my life where I wasn't looking for a relationship and I was focusing on improving myself. Like always. It's when I'm like, I'm just going to stop thinking about like getting into a relationship that's like, I don't need to even worry about that. I'm going to focus on like the things that I'm working on right now that I need to focus on, like my YouTube channel, or back then it was like when I was in the swim team, like getting better at swimming and lowering my times. These things led to me pretty much without even trying, stumbling into a relationship. It just kind of happened without me even like thinking about it. It's kind of like when you stop thinking about like waiting for the pot of water on the stove to boil, and like you stop thinking about it for like 2 seconds, and then you look and it's like almost overboiled. It's a bit like that. The pot of water boils slower when you're looking at it. In the same way, it's harder to find a relationship when you're actively seeking one out. And frankly, if you're actively seeking out a relationship, then chances are, like, you're not in a good place for a relationship anyway. A lesson that I learned very quickly, because I was an incel boy when I grew up. But very quickly, something I learned after getting into my first relationship, like my first serious one, is that it's a lot of work. Like, being in a relationship is a lot of work on your part, regardless of like how traditional it is. It is a lot of work to be in a relationship, even if you have a really chill, lax relationship where you have a very even split of duties and everything. There's still a lot of work that goes into maintaining that, and you might get into a relationship only to realize you weren't ready for that. There's a lot of people who do. That's common. You got to consider these things. If you're like in the red pill incel community, before you even think about like, oh, I'm going to get a girlfriend and not be an incel or anything anymore, you need to think about like, do you really want a relationship right now? Do you really want to say lose your virginity right now? Or yet? Are you ready for it? Do you have other things in life you'd rather focus on to improve yourself? Find a girl who likes you for you. This is critical. There's nothing worse than getting into a relationship with someone who you share no interests with. Seriously. If your only goal in a relationship is to get sex and to have, like, I don't know, like a girl who's barefoot, pregnant, in the kitchen making you dinner every night, then you're kind of a piece of shit, and I'm glad that you can't get laid and you can't get a girlfriend. But if you're genuinely lonely and looking for a fulfilling, happy relationship, then trust me, if girls don't like you because they aren't also into like what you're into, and your personality isn't something that like grows on them and doesn't work well for them, if they're just not into you, trust me, you don't want to be with them. You don't want them to just barely be into you enough to be with you as well, because then, it's like, that's not a very strong relationship either. You want to find a girl who really likes you. And trust me, I know the reason why this blue pill advice section comes from parents, sisters, or brothers, like they mean like older peers, right? And movies, is because this is advice that is proven true so many times over through the years that it is just like the standard go-to. It's like making chicken soup and breaking a fever when you have a cold. It's the most standard thing that everybody knows because it almost always works. One day, you'll find someone that chooses you, and that is true. That is absolutely true.
Funnily enough, in the pickup art sphere, which prides itself in being a rejection of these ideas and instead exposes the truth about dating,
We're going even deeper.
They say things similar by placing a large emphasis on so-called indicators of interest. These are when a girl touches your arm, laughs at one of your jokes that isn't funny, makes persistent eye contact with you even when you aren't speaking. Finally, when we look at the guys who believe
Okay, so alright, let's talk about the red pill ones. Honestly, these aren't even too bad if these are red pill, if this is red pill advice. Like, I know that indicators of interest are a thing that the red pill types talk about, but usually it's like, it's usually paired with like some weird rape apology-ish shit. A little while ago, we reacted to a video that was like an incel red pill video, and it was about like indicators of interest, and it said that like a girl might even be saying no, and you still have to fuck her because she's playing games with you or some shit like that. It was really fucked up. I don't remember what the YouTuber's name was, but it was like, I'm surprised he still has a channel because it was a really disgusting thing. Let's continue. When a girl touches your arm, I mean, that definitely could mean that a girl is interested in you, and at the very least means she's comfortable being close to you and touching you. Like a random graze is nothing, you know, that could just be an accident. But if she just kind of like finds excuse, I think it's better. A better way to word this would be if she takes every opportunity to touch you, right? If a girl is just always taking every opportunity to touch you, like always wants to hug you, always wants to grab onto your arm, always grabbing your hand, or like just taking every feasible excuse and opportunity to put her hands on you, then that's a pretty strong indicator of interest, at least from my understanding. It's not guaranteed, but it's a hint. It could be. Laughs at one of your jokes that isn't funny. I like how it's one of your jokes that isn't funny. I mean, some women have different senses of humor, and like sometimes people laugh at their friends' jokes to make them not feel bad. Sometimes people just do that to be polite, so I don't know. This one isn't very compelling, because this ties into that weird red pill incel belief that guys evolved being funnier than women in order to get laid. Because guys are naturally, like, because the idea is that women are naturally less sexual and into sex than guys, so in order to, like, get women more attracted to guys in such a way that they would be turned on, is the evolution made guys funnier, so that women would be so that they'd have a tool to make women as horny as guys are, like, by default. That's my understanding of the incel belief, of like the red pill take. Number 3, makes persistent eye contact with you. That's definitely possible, but I generally try to keep eye contact as much as possible during conversations, unless it like becomes like not unbroken eye contact, because that's just weird, but you know, generally maintaining eye contact in a conversation is just kind of how you have a conversation.
appearance and aesthetics are at the core of dating for men, unbelievably, we more or less see a carbon copy of these two previous ideas. The advice goes, and trust me I know because I'm part of this community, if you're a normie or average looking guy, the optimal dating strategy is to just ramp up the number of women you speak to and interact with. Then, from there, select the 1 to 5% who gives you choosing signals or Chad treatment, and try your luck with those. In other words, when we zoom out and look at all 3 of these schools of thought,
I want you to notice, by the way, this is a literal Khan Academy video that's trying to break down the art of, like, seducing women. Oh, God.
For this topic, they are all essentially saying the same thing. If you want to do well...
By the way, the terms they come up with, choosing signals or the Chad treatment. Fucking Chad treatment.
In dating, then just focus on the women that show you the most interest. The only difference between these 3 systems is that they just have a slightly different way of phrasing it. Which is ironic, because on paper they all try to distinguish themselves as completely separate ideas. Anyway, my opening point is, no matter where your opinions lie, you're pretty much guaranteed to be exposed to this advice and most likely believe in it too. After all, It sounds logical to try to date the girls that are at least showing you some interest.
Sure.
Otherwise, you'll find yourself constantly barking up the wrong trees. However, the main point of this video is I think adhering to this too strongly can result in you having a blind spot. And this blind spot puts you at high odds of pursuing girls that lack desirable qualities, such as those I mentioned at the beginning. You might already have a rough idea
Alright, we're gonna talk about the different types of femoids now, I think.
of the content that is to follow. But I think it'd be wise to listen to this story I have of a friend showing just how much a weakness this blind spot
Let's go, let's hear an anecdote. Alright, I'm down. This is gonna be fun.
can be. So, me and my friend were at this party of I'd estimate about 10 people. And early in the night, I saw him singled out with quite an attractive girl for what seemed to be a deep conversation. This girl, who we'll call Lucy for now, even from the outside, you could tell was quite conservative and introverted. She wasn't dressed up in a skimpy, ridiculous outfit showing her skin. She was taking it slow on her drinks.
Like, I love that these people are just, like, filled with hatred for women that are just, like, that wear clothing that shows off skin. Like, I don't understand it. I genuinely don't. Because even when I was in my, like, incel state, I didn't really hate it. I guess what the incels hate, and what the incel philosophy is that women are, by default, or not by default, but socialized to be hypocritical. That is the idea that incels have. That at every turn, women are trying to get validation, or at least most women are trying to get validation by dressing in ways that are attractive to men, or posting hot pictures on social media, or like, you know, this or that or this, or wearing makeup, or doing this or that. Things that they interpret as being meant to make men in public ogle at them and attracted to them so that they can get validation. Meanwhile, they believe that these women, if you ever were to act on their clear calls for attention, then you know, all of a sudden you're a victimizer, all of a sudden you're the bad guy, and it's like, what do you mean? Look at what she was wearing. She's clearly a slut. That's the kind of thing these people believe. It's very bizarre. I guess it's understandable if that's where this guy is at. But, you know, I don't know. I don't understand why these guys hate seeing scantily clad women. There's a lot of women out there. There's plenty of conservative dressing, like, modest women out there. Why can't there also be slutty women out there that like to wear, like, ribbons instead of clothes?
And her body language was quite reserved, not flamboyant or loud. Anyway,
Whoa.
He spoke with her for about half an hour, then afterwards he came and spoke to me to give me an update. He said he could see she was at least giving him some interest, some choosing signals. E.g., her eye contact was strong and her body...
Wait, okay. So what he's going to argue is that all the advice that we went through before was advice for picking up slutty women, but if you're actually looking for a traditional trad wife woman, that advice won't work because trad wife women don't give off those signals. I see. We're gonna look into the psyche of the trad wife.
Body language was facing in the direction of him. However, he said there was still not enough for him to conclusively determine whether she liked him or not. So for now, he made the decision to speak to others which he believed could have a better chance of leading to something. Anyway, to summarise so far, this first girl was around a 7 in hotness, 3 in extroversion, and giving about a 5.
Wait, hold on. I need to see the scale. What are we measuring by? I need to see the scale, bro.
In choosing signals. Later that same night, we all went down to a nightclub, and this is where this other girl came along, who was actually very similar to the girl at the beginning from the TikTok in terms of both appearance and mannerisms.
Whoa.
We'll call her Madison. She was attractive, but in a different way to Lucy. Her face was slightly less, but her body was extreme.
Okay. I love I love this weird, we're doing the rating system, the 1 out of 10 rating system. I feel like the 1 out of 10 rating system has to be like, it's pretty flawed, isn't it? Like, if we're going to start breaking it up into different body sections, why not, like, fully, like, why not go full phrenology with it, you know? Like, break down, like, we do the nose, and then, like, the cheekbones, and then, like, the lower cheekbones, and then the ears, and then the eye, like, why not just go full on with it, bro? Like, make this a 2.5 hour long video. This is a flawed system. It's not intricate enough.
Extremely appealing. In other words, she had a lot of short-term appeal. And luckily for my friends, she came onto him very strong and was being more than generous with the choosing signals. She was putting her waist up against his, touching his chest, and wrapping her arms around him.
But he's gonna argue that this is the behavior, this is like normal behavior for women like this, and so they're not actually choosing signals, are they? Is that what he's gonna say?
It was so forward. Several times he even gave me these looks as if to say, I've got this in the bag. This is so easy. Now, Lucy was still with us at this point, and you could see from her facial expressions her interest in my friend was starting to plummet. I don't think I could ever imagine Lucy...
Yeah, she should have acted. Yeah, she should have acted. If she liked him, why didn't she say anything? I honestly am, one of the things about this incel shit that frustrates me the most is that it continues to bolster this idea that men should continue to have the onus on them to approach women and start relationships. And frankly, like, for the incel types as well, who are afraid that women are evil harpies who will throw false allegations at them for anything, like, this would also be good advice. Why not, like, encourage women to be as, like, equally as open or as, like, forward with telling guys that they're interested? Like, 90% of the relationships I've been in were started by the girl I dated saying they were interested in me, not the other way around. Because frankly, I'm not very good at all on picking up signals. And I don't think most guys are good at picking up on signals. And I think with all the incel propaganda about how, like, Me Too has gone too far and women are gonna try to destroy your life if you pick up the wrong signal, I think a lot of guys are sort of deliberately not picking up on signals because they're becoming, like, fear-mongered by these incel channels and all this incel propaganda, which it's not even just like guys watching incel channels. This idea, this concept expands outside of it. How many guys have you heard just in a casual conversation talk about how the government should invent consent contracts that women have to sign with a guy before sex? They don't think it over at all. It's a very stupid, like, proposition. I know. I don't need to explain why. But, like, how many times have you heard guys say that? That's an indication of the fact they're dead scared of that possibility.
Indulging in the same behaviour as what Madison was doing. You could tell she found it too much. Anyway, the night finished with my friend making out with Madison in the club. So credit to him for his results. And then they kept in contact and continued talking to each other the following days. Okay. And this is when things started to go south. It didn't take long for my...
Did he hit, though? Did he hit, though?
Friend to realise Madison was a complete loose cannon. She brought up her many wild nights out and risky experiences, unravelled her extensive history of short-term partners, told of reckless acts in the bedroom. It was obvious.
Okay, so we've got a mix of things here. She brought up her many wild nights out and risky experiences. So if this isn't like the type of, this is not the type of behavior that you're looking for in a partner, like they're actively doing that, then obviously this is a huge red flag. But if it's like something they did when they were younger, like a teenager, and now they're in their, like, late 20s, mid 20s, or 30s, and they're like, you know, they're telling old stories from like half or a decade ago, I think that's different than, like, if they're actively doing that. But dudes like this believe in, like, the concept of the roasty. I hate that. Okay, if you don't know what that means, I hate that I have to introduce you to this term, but I'm gonna have to explain it, okay? In incel lore, a roasty is basically another word for like to describe a woman who they think of as a whore or a slut. The idea behind it is that they believe, and this is not true, by the way. As far I've done research on it, and as far as I'm aware, there's no scientific evidence to back this up. They believe that like the more sex and the bigger the dicks of the sexual partners that a woman has, the more their labia will like stick out. Like the more of like a protruding labia they will have, which of course they see as like unattractive, and their ideal picture of a woman is like very, very, very narrow when it comes to genitalia, I guess. And so basically they have this theory that like an untouched pussy looks a certain way, and that like once they've done a bunch of wild shit or had a lot of sex or something, they're tainted, they're ruined, they're damaged goods, right? They see women as like objects, property that can be broken or in mint condition. So yeah, that's what I have to say about this point. 2, unraveled her extensive short history of short-term partners. This is a red flag if you're looking for a long-term relationship, I think. Told of reckless acts in the bedroom. Reckless acts in the bedroom. Considering this is like a conservative incel channel, this could literally mean like she did anal once or something, you know? Like, I will say, if it's been 2 days into the relationship and she's talking about old relationships and old sexual encounters, that's the biggest of red flags. Get the fuck out of there. Get out.
She was not relationship material. Whether or not she'd be good short term, I think the evidence suggests absolutely. But when we bring Lucy back into the picture and do a side-by-side comparison, I think there's only one girl who any of us would consider for something long term. As previously stated, Lucy had these scores for these factors, whereas Madison's scores were more like these. If you want to make out or bring a girl home on the same night, Madison would definitely give you high.
Wait, this is also femcel theory as well, by the way. I think we're going to see a great merge of the femcells and the incels at some point. It's going to be insane. Because, like, this is also what the femcells believe. They believe that there's, like, that if they're a Becky and there's, like, a Stacy who's getting all of the Chads, and, you know, all the guys are going for the Stacys and they're a Becky, then, like, they're going to be the girl that, like, gets settled on, you know? Like, the guy will fuck a bunch of hot, like, as they would say, like, fucking slutty women or whatever, and then he's gonna settle down with a girl like Lucy, who's not as hot, but is more of a trad wife. That's what the femcel theory is. Holy shit. They're coming together. They're like melding. They're merging.
Higher odds. But if you want a relationship, in my opinion, Lucy would be high quality, while Madison would be a lost cause. Why? Well, this is the point of the entire story, and showcases what I'm going to coin the paradox of choosing signals. By focusing too much on choosing signals, you can easily end
Hey, did I miss the 101 class? I'm a little lost.
Up filtering down to these ditzy Madison type women. You may think the choosing signals show you're exactly her type.
These ditzy Madison type women. I love the wording this guy uses.
And that's why she's crazy for you. But in reality, it's only because she's easy and gives this treatment to any guy who's a 6 or above. This is the difference between thinking with your little head and your big heads. And...
Wait, which one's which? So, that said, I'm gonna go, alright. Right, mate. Top Zan now. It's time to go Top Zan. Alright. Right, listen up. Listen up now. Hold on. Imagine this is a cigar, right? Now listen to me, people. Alright? You need to listen to me now, okay? Alright, I'm not going to do the full thing, but I will go full Top Zan here, okay? It is true that there are some women out there that are massive coomers, okay? There are some women out there that are massive coomers that'll meet a bunch of guys, and if that girl finds those guys even a little bit attractive, she'll be down to clown, and she'll move on to the next guy. There are a lot of women out there like that. There are plenty. I've met plenty of them as well. Trust me, I know, okay? I'm sure if you're watching this video and you've had any level of experience meeting people in the real world, then you've probably met people like this as well. The problem is that, like, incels judge this lifestyle morally for, like, very, I think, overzealously. You know, like, sure, there's a big difference between, like, just being a woman who sleeps around a lot, which, of course, when it comes to guys, incels have no problem with, so there shouldn't be any problem with it when women do it, and I don't think there is. And, like, being scummy about it, you know? Like, it's possible to be a guy that sleeps around with a lot of women to not be scummy about it. I feel like there's other factors that have to go into it to make it, like, a morally bad action to behave that way. I don't think it's just being a coomer, you know?
It's by thinking with your little heads. What you miss out on is girls like Lucy. In my friend's case, if he gave Lucy more of a chance and didn't get blindsided by the strong choosing signals from Madison, he'd be more likely to end up on a path to a high-quality relationship. No.
Wait, what if Madison ends up being like, you know, she gets into the relationship and she's just like, hey, I kind of want to go full trad wife, honestly. I kind of want to settle down. And then, like, he starts dating Lucy and she decides to go on her, like, world tour, party around the world, topless and body paint arc. That'd be funny. That'd be a funny twist. Someone should make that a skit.
No,
Darman should make that a skit. Can we get that Darman skit? Didn't Darman get into some, like, really bad drama? Isn't he done? Didn't he do something? I don't even know. I barely even know who Darman is. I know the memes.
Might not have been able to make out with her on the first night. Yes, he might have needed to take her on a few dates before he got anything back. And yes...
Oh my god, he's talking about it like it's fucking investing, dude. Like, right, so listen, mate. If you go after the more conservative girl, you're not gonna get... Maybe you're not going to make out with her or get laid on the first night. You're probably not, right? But if you put in the time and you put in the effort, in the long term, you'll be able to get your dick wet, mate. Trust me, all right? Trust me. That's what matters at the end of the day.
He might have needed to be patient.
Remember, it's a high-quality relationship, not a fulfilling or a loving relationship. High quality. Because they consider women a commodity.
On whether she liked him or not. But trust me, I don't think it's worth losing out on a girl like Lucy just so you can get some short-term satisfaction with a girl like Madison. So, does this mean choosing signals are irrelevant? Well,
Jesus.
Not quite. Firstly, of course, if you're only looking for short-term, choosing signals are key, and I would say chase the Madisons all the way. And second, the priority is being able to distinguish if a woman...
I mean, that is somewhat true. He's not wrong. If you are, like, looking for just short-term hookups, then yeah, the Coomer women that are looking to bang any dude they find attractive and just have one-night stands because they like sex and they like to have lots of sex, then yeah, that's good advice, yeah. Go after them if you're looking for that.
Is giving choosing signals because she genuinely likes you, or she's just easy and gives them to every guy. You can almost make an equation out of this. The amount of genuine...
Did I not say this was a Khan Academy video all about, like, analyzing the psychology of women in the dating world?
An attraction a girl has for you is the level of choosing signals she gives you, minus her base level of extroversion.
Let me write this down very quick in my journal.
So, for a girl like Madison, both of her levels are high, which means they cancel each other out.
No fucking shot. Okay, so we're actually plugging in, like, we have a scale and we're measuring things on a scale and we're plugging in those numbers into a fucking mathematic equation. It's a formula, by the way. This is a formula, not an equation. I mean, technically it's an equation, but what you're showing us here is a formula. This is the equation. We've got this is just Khan Academy for incels. Holy shit. This goes hard. Okay, I take back everything negative I've said about this video. This goes hard.
Out, so her genuine attraction is low. But as for a girl like Lucy, her choosing signals are lower, but relative to her base level of extroversion, her level of genuine attraction to my friend was actually +2 points, showing a decent amount of genuine desire. The
Holy
reason this
shit.
equation works is because it tells you the uniqueness.
I need this guy to make a video where it's like his friend is at the club and has a hidden camera on him, and he has like an earpiece in with his friend, with like this guy talking to him through the earpiece, doing the equations and doing calculations in real time, like every 2 minutes doing a new calculation to figure out which woman would be the best for his friend to pursue, and just to see how it works out. That'd be a fantastic video.
Of the treatment you're getting. If and when a woman gives choosing signals to every man she comes across, the value of those choosing signals are greatly diminished.
Wait, what? That doesn't really fall in line with the rest of the video, does it, right? Is he talking about women that are just very extroverted, and so they like act flirty with a lot of guys, but they aren't actually interested? Because my understanding is he said that women that give a lot of choosing signals to every guy are likely to bang you. Is he talking about looking for a long-term relationship here? I'm sorry, I got lost. See, this is why I never did well in math.
Let me put it another way. If a woman is giving you some choosing signals for no apparent reason, and you're just some normie average guy in every area,
I love okay, I have to say, I do love this image of a normie average guy he used. This is such a great image. I don't know why, but there's just something about this guy, like the look on this guy's face and the dude that this guy chose, that I love. I will say, that was a good comedic effect for me. Maybe it was just me, but it made me laugh, and that's all that matters.
then imagine how much more exaggerated the choosing signals would be when she's talking to a Chads.
Yeah,
If she caresses your arm when talking to her, you can bet she'd be all over Chad in the club. So, I'm not
That's me.
saying to hit on the girls who give nothing in terms of choosing signals. You need to make sure there is at least enough there to tell she's at least a little interested. But at the same time, you need to know.
The truth is, if you're thinking about it this much, you've already lost, alright? I feel like... is this the generation of people that never watched How I Met Your Mother? Listen, How I Met Your Mother was a show that had some spotty, episodes and seasons and everything, but I feel like the best part of that show was the character of Barney Stinson and the critique of, like, dating culture that he offered. Because his whole thing was that he had dating and hooking up with women down to a science, and, like, he was a massive scumbag. You know, because that's what guys like this are. If you're the type of dude who's so desperate, if you're really desperate for, like, an actual loving, fulfilling relationship, then chances are watching videos like this is literally sending you down a path that's making you go far, like you're on a path that leads further away from your goal, okay? If you're watching shit like this and overthinking it this much, you need to be focusing on yourself, trust me. If you're one of those guys that literally does a calculus of, like, hooking up with women and how best to do so, you're kind of a piece of shit, you know?
She doesn't give out these kind of signals to every guy that talks to her. And one of the best ways you can do this is by niching down in a certain area of looksmaxxing. For example,
the problem is he's not wrong. It's really cringe how he's wording it, but the looksmaxxing thing isn't wrong. Obviously, it's not, like, needed. You don't need to do this. All of this is unnecessary. But if your goal is to... Well, let me be clear here. The goal of a lot of incels, especially nowadays, is if they're watching a lot of incel content, what incels first and foremost value is the idea of being the most sexually valued to women guy. Whether you actually act on how many women are sexually attracted to you and want to have sex with you or not, Kudos if you don't, by the way, in the incel community. If you actively choose not to have sex with women that want to have sex with you, that they consider that like an act of heroicism. But like the idea is to not just be an attractive enough man to find a fulfilling relationship or to have a few hookups or whatever. That's not what most of these guys are after. These guys want to become, like the guys who are watching this kind of stuff want to become Chad. They want to become the idea of Chad. The problem is that idea isn't really real outside of like Instagram models, like male Instagram models and like famous celebrities. But to be fair, there is some level of truth in the idea that you can sort of, what he's actually saying, he's calling it niching down and looksmaxxing, but what this actually is playing to your strengths, right? If you're athletic and you're looking to be more attractive to women, then getting into like, if you like sports or you like working out, then working out a lot and doing sports and getting really shredded might be the best way to do that. If you're not really into working out and you're more into fashion and art and you're sort of like, you know, a homebody and indoors and you're a little bit more on the feminine side, then you can go for the femboy look. And both of these things will work quite well.
Paul, the pretty boy, or the hypermasculine
Nah, it's femboy. Come on, say it.
gym guy. This way, if you approach a girl who finds you
Like, I would honestly say that nowadays, women are pretty much 50-50 split between being into this body type and this body type.
exactly her type, then she'll give you choosing signals that are exclusive to you. In other words, she hasn't been dishing them out to every guy that approaches her. Anyway, that's all for today, and to my loyal/semi-loyal fans, just yesterday I have officially been removed from Fiverr where
Okay. Well, speaking of financial issues, I am unable to stream from this place that I've gotten in Seattle, so if you want to support me and help me raise funds to be able to either... Well, for one, I'm trying to fix this internet problem with my landlord and find a solution that doesn't require me to move from here. But if I do end up having to move so that I can stream, and you want to help me out with the finances of doing that, then please consider leaving a like, subscribing, ring the bell icon, commenting down below, following my social media, and donating through the means that you can find in the description as well. Regardless of how you support me, even if you just watch the video and that's it, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.